the United States of America, the beacon of capitalism across the world and the land of opportunity. And while yes, since moving to Spain, I sing its praises about its amazing quality of life, its culture, and its people, that doesn't mean that there aren't things about the US that I don't miss. In this video, I'm going to mention 9 things about the United States that I really miss. Listos? Vamonos! Now, the first thing on my list is the most obvious: friends and family. It goes without saying that we greatly miss our friends and family back in the United States, and we think about them daily. But now that I have that out of the way, let's get to the meat of the list. Now, speaking of meat, the second thing on my list would have to be what we in Texas hold as the crown jewel of our state's gastronomy: the world-famous Texas barbecue. Texas barbecue shares a unique quality with the Mediterranean diet: its simplicity. We use very simple seasonings, salt and pepper, and let the flavor of the meat stand on its own. We use the techniques of slow smoking the meat using hardwoods such as oak or mesquite for periods of time lasting from 6 to 16 hours. The result is a cut of meat so tender and tasty. I guarantee if you haven't tried it, you've never tasted anything like it. Imagine the best steak you've ever had multiplied by 100. For those of you who have tried Texas barbecue, you know what I'm talking about. I recently saw a video on YouTube of some British high schoolers trying authentic Texas barbecue for the first time, and their reactions made me smile and miss it even more.
No, what is that? That is massive. Oh, why? It's bigger than my head.
It's like one of those food challenges.
That looks lovely.
This is brisket.
Oh my word, just look at the juice coming out when you're just cutting it. Look at the juice. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
Can't even describe it.
Perfect.
It's absolutely wonderful.
That is amazing. That is so good. It tastes like steak but smoky.
Well, the flavour just lasts for ages, doesn't it? It was so good, I'll probably have to go back for another one.
Yeah. It tastes like I can't even explain. It's absolutely sublime.
That's really good.
And you see, the fact of the matter is, Texas barbecue wasn't just my favorite meal. It was my favorite hobby. It incorporated the whole family. Every weekend, my routine was waking up early on a Saturday or Sunday, chopping my wood, and firing up my smoker. My kids would help me season the meats, my wife would be in the kitchen making homemade breads, and we would invite loads of friends and family to come over and enjoy. It was an event more than a simple meal. It mirrors the way the Spanish make paella. It incorporates everyone, and it lasts hours, and it's not just the meal, it's the communication, it's the camaraderie, it's the family. It was the whole event. And so that's the second thing that I miss most about being in the United States. The third thing on my list that I miss the most about the United States is big stores. I mean big grocery stores. In the United States, everything is bigger, right? It's the land of consumerism, and it's reflected most in our stores and shopping centers. Our favorite was Costco. Costco is basically a warehouse full of everything and anything you could ever need, sold in exaggerated quantities at bargain prices. It wasn't out of the ordinary for us to walk in on a Sunday and walk out with clothes for the children, 20 pounds of meat, 10 pounds of produce, a playground set, some books, some fresh flowers, and a rotisserie chicken. Oh, and some gasoline. You gotta pump your gasoline there too. Best prices on gasoline. And I do miss it because we can get all our shopping done in one simple place. Here, the grocery stores are a little bit smaller. You have Consum, you have Mercadona, we have Spar here as well, and they have everything you need. All the essentials will be there. But being an American and living there for the last 40 years of my life, we got used to having massive stores and going into stores and spending time just walking around, getting everything you need. Now, did we need everything at these big warehouse stores? No, but it's always nice to have it just in case. And so that is one thing I do miss. That and the fact that they are available all the time. Which leads into the fourth thing that I miss the most about the United States is the 24/7 availability of most goods and services. Because in the United States, most goods and services are available 7 days a week, and for the most part late into the day, if not 24 hours a day. Here in Spain, that just isn't the case. Grocery stores close on Sundays, and a lot of stores and businesses, restaurants, close in the middle of the day, those hottest midday hours, 2 to 5 or 3 to 6, which I understand why they do it. It's the hottest part of the day. Most people are not out doing their shopping at those hours anyway, so they close up. I mean, if I were a business owner here, I would be doing the same thing. But when moving from the United States to here, it is a big, big adjustment. We've been here for over a year now, and I still forget. Even banks have what I consider to be just very inconvenient hours. We bank at BBVA, which is a big multinational bank. I mean, we have them back in the United States, but here they're only open from 8:30 to 2:30 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday, no weekends. That is pretty inconvenient. And speaking of the banks, I really miss good customer service. The customer service here at banks is not very good. And I'm not the first person to say this. I know there's several YouTube videos out there from expats coming to Spain and mentioning the same thing. The customer service at banks is just not great. I don't know what it's like to work at a Spanish bank here. I don't know if it's a very challenging job. I don't know. And maybe you guys can fill me in the comments section. But every time we've gone to the bank to resolve any issue, there's 1 to 2 people there available to help. Anytime anybody asks them a question, they seem bothered by you even asking the question and are very reluctant to resolve the issue. I mean, they will help you resolve the issue, but there's a lot of talking to you like you should know how to do this already. And you go to other businesses like some bars and restaurants, and it's not uncommon for you to wait quite a while before a server even comes to your table. Now, that being said, I will give wait staff a bit of grace here, because most small restaurants, bars, cafes have 1 to 2 people running the whole place. In that instance, in that example, I understand. Even then, it's not like in the US where a waiter will come to your table shortly after you sit down and they greet you with a smile. Hi, how are you doing? Sorry that you were waiting. What can I get for you guys? That isn't the case here. And if you expect that type of service here, most of the time you will be disappointed. But when they do come to your table, a lot of times it's not like, hi, what can I get you? A lot of times it's, what do you want? What do you want to drink? They're there to get you what you need, which I understand. I mean, in the United States, it's no secret that waiters work for their tips. It's 20, 25, 30%. But what they don't mention is the customer service. Usually the customer service in the United States is pretty darn amazing. A lot of times, waiters here, they're working really hard. They're working really, really hard. And so I've come to understand the dynamic. I don't expect to be treated hand and foot like we are used to in the US, but it's always nice to have service with a smile. That's all I'm saying. And I do miss that about the United States. The next thing on my list is big American homes and big open spaces. I really, really miss that about the United States. Now, unless you lived in one of the major cities in the United States, New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, it's more common to live in a typical suburban home, right? A home with a front yard and a backyard, and it's a big enough space to where you can still enjoy the outdoors without actually having to leave your home or your property. I really miss that. Here, I mean, we've lived in Valencia and now we currently live in Gandia. But the most common way to live that I've seen is you live in apartment buildings, right? Everybody has their flat or their piso. When you want to go outside, you leave your building and you go out for a walk. But I miss not having to leave my house to enjoy the outdoors. And it's the space. I don't miss so much the stuff in the house. I don't need to have TVs and junk filling up the house. I just miss the space, the open space. Luckily here in Gandia, which is one of the reasons that we moved here, there's a lot of good natural outdoor spaces. I have the beach, I have the mountains just to the other side, which we just walked the other day, and it's great, it's beautiful, but you have to leave your house for it. And in Texas, that wasn't absolutely necessary. You can enjoy a lot of outdoor space without having to leave your home. And, well, that's one of the things I miss. The next thing on my list is spicy food. Grew up in the United States, right on the border where Mexican food is ubiquitous, it's everywhere, and now in the United States, anywhere you go, you're gonna find a couple of Mexican restaurants. Mexican culture, Mexican food, Mexican gastronomy has influenced all of the United States. And so it's very common to have spicy food because here in Spain, it's just not part of the culture, which I absolutely understand. But not having the option to have spicy food is something that I really miss. And the last thing on my list that I really miss about the United States is having air conditioning wherever you find yourself. Here, luckily, we have had air conditioning in every piso that we rent because we live right on the coast, right on the Mediterranean coast, and it gets hot. During the summer, it gets very, very hot. And being on the coast, it's at 1,000% humidity all the time, so you're constantly sweating. There are very many places still here in the Valencian community and in Spain in general that don't have regular air conditioning or central AC units. And most of the year you're fine. Right now, today, it's 69 degrees Fahrenheit. It's perfect, a beautiful day. You don't need air conditioning. You open your windows, you open your doors, there's a good airflow, and you're absolutely fine. But on those 3 hottest months of the year, July, August, September, it is hot. And if you don't have air conditioning, it's almost unbearable. And there are restaurants, there are businesses that don't have air conditioning. You can go to a restaurant, you can go to a small bar, and they just have everything open. But the interesting thing is, the Valencians here, they don't sweat. And they're walking around and dressed really nice in long sleeve shirts. And I don't know how they don't sweat. I don't know. Maybe it's just genetics over time. They're just used to it. And in the United States, there's air conditioning everywhere. We waste energy. I know that. I know lights are always on and air conditioners are always running wherever you are. We have air conditioning in our flat, in our piso. We're fine. But you will encounter places that don't have air conditioning. And when it's the middle of summer, yeah, it kind of sucks. So that's the last thing I miss most about the United States. Now I know, I am aware that a lot of you watching these videos, especially if you're European, are gonna watch this and think, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like that's just the epitome of American consumerism and American excess and American waste. And you're right, I have no argument against that. But that's how we lived for 40 years. I mean, that's how I lived for 40 years, and my wife, we're both 42 and 41. So up to this point in our life, that's the mode of living we were used to, we were accustomed to. And while I recognize and I appreciate living here in Spain and how things are different and how we've become less wasteful, less consumerist, there are those things that we still miss. It's gonna take more than a year or 2 years to get completely used to a different type of lifestyle. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below, and please let me know what you think in the comments section. Whether you think I make any valid points, or whether you think it's just ridiculous American excess that I miss. Let me know. And I'll see you guys next week. Hasta luego.